The Palmetto State Armory JAKL-10 in 308, 14.5-inch barrel, $1,500. Is it the best budget battle rifle out there? I don't know. Check out this video. Let me know what you think. But for now, I thought we put some rounds on steel out there. So, got a full-size IPSC, 660 yards. Let's just hammer it. We missed that last one, but I tell you what, this rifle's super fun. In this video, we're going to take an in-depth look at how she shoots and performs all the way out to 1,000 yards. Now here we are with a really fun video around the new Palmetto State Armory JAKL-10 in 308. Now, if you're not familiar with the JAKL-10, at a really high level, what you're going to get is a long stroke gas piston operated rifle, SR25 magazines, folding buttstock, 14.5-inch barrel with pin and welded muzzle device. So in theory, this should be an extremely reliable, very handy rifle to fill that battle rifle space. So that full power 308 cartridge, that's going to put some energy downrange. It's going to give you the ability to shoot out to distance, which is exactly what we're going to test in this video. Now there's been a number of other creators that have published content around the JAKL-10, so if you're curious about reliability and super in-depth specs and all that kind of information, check out some of the other videos. My plan here though, in typical Mountains Mullets America fashion, is to see how she performs out to distance. So you think about that 14.5-inch 308, my opinion, battle rifle, that's good to 600 or 800 yards on a torso type target. So that's exactly what we're going to do in this video. So my plan for the video, certainly we move down to the 100-yard line and give you a look at how she performs for 100-yard accuracy. Certainly with that $1,500 price point of the JAKL-10, it's going to beg the question, is it too good to be true? How does it actually perform? So we're going to put it on paper, shoot a couple of loads there, give you a look at groups, velocity information, and then we're going to move out and start shooting steel out at distance. And my plan with this video is to get us out to at least 800 yards because again, that's where I feel like this rifle should really be able to perform well. And then if we're making impacts, maybe even push out a little bit further and really push the boundaries on the rifle. So if you're curious of how the JAKL-10 performs out to distance as a battle rifle, then stick around. I'm really excited about this video. I think it's going to be super fun. Now before we go further, I've got to ask for your help. My channel has seen a ton of growth recently, and I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. If you're watching this video and you're not subscribed, do me a solid and hit that subscribe button. Share my channel with your buddies because we're putting out some awesome long-range content. Again, thanks to all of you who are subscribed and help me grow this channel. If you're new here, stick around, subscribe, and make sure you're in line for my next video drop. Now from here, really quick, let's just talk about the gear we're going to run in the video. So the base rifle is going to be the Palmetto State Armory JAKL-10, out of the box, 14.5-inch barrel, long stroke gas piston. Prior to this video, I have put a couple of hundred rounds through the rifle just to kind of get a feel for it, make sure it functions, and get an idea of how it shoots, as well as fine-tune the gas setting. So it does have an adjustable gas block. I've already dialed that in to suit the ammunition that we're going to be shooting. Now the one change I have made on the rifle is in the trigger. So from the factory, this is going to ship with a single stage trigger. Not a bad trigger, it's a little bit heavy, but for precision shooting, I went ahead and swapped to the Palmetto State Armory Saber Claw. That's the two-stage trigger that they put in their Saber 10 lineup. The really cool thing about this JAKL-10 is the lower is an AR lower, so you can actually swap in really any AR trigger. I just happen to really like that Saber Claw trigger. It hits the market, I think, about $90, so it's very affordable. And for me, a two-stage is really nice. That Saber Claw is pretty light and it's pretty crisp. It's a nice trigger for precision shooting, and in my opinion, it's a great trigger for a battle rifle. Now it is worth noting on this JAKL-10, Palmetto State Armory did send this out to me. So this rifle was provided to me by Palmetto State Armory. I do have a bit of a relationship there. My first rifle I purchased from them without any kind of relationship. That was my Super SAS, and then from there I believe they saw that video, and we've worked together on a couple of other projects, one being the Saber 10 M110 clone, as well as this JAKL-10. So in working with Palmetto State Armory, if you do find yourself interested in any of their products, do me a solid. I do have an affiliate program with them. You can navigate over to learn more about any of their products, and if you find yourself interested in pulling the trigger on something like this, use my link in the campsite bio. And That'll get you over to their website as well as provide me a little bit of a kickback, which I use to help grow this channel. So that is kind of my relationship with Palmetto State Armory and how I sourced this rifle. Again, there's a ton of information online about this if you want a deeper look at the specs. Up front, we will be shooting off of the MDT single pull sky pod. You can see this is equipped with the PR Shooting Solutions pod knobs, making it much easier to deploy and retract the legs on this. So these are very affordable, again, from PR Shooting Solutions, information in the campsite bio. Up top for an optics package, this is one that I'm excited about because it's my new partnership with Brownells. So Brownells actually provided this EOTech Voodoo 1-10 LPVO. This is a mil optic with a great reticle. You think about what this rifle is, the ability to shoot up close rapidly or push out 600 to 800 yards. A 1-10 LPVO I felt like was a perfect fit for this. The reticle in this works well for precision shooting up close. You'll see we shoot some decent groups at the 100-yard line. But that 10 power and that reticle really is going to make it easier for me to push out to distance. So shout out to Brownells, really appreciate their partnership here on the channel. If you do find yourself interested in products from Brownells, make sure you're using my code MULLETS on your orders over $150. I'll give you a little bit of a discount, and again, it's going to help me out here with a little bit of a kickback. Going to be mounted in a Night Force single piece 34mm mount. And then up top, we are going to be running the Maztech. This is going to be the new X4 2K laser rangefinder. So this product, as of filming, is not on the market yet, but it's coming very soon. And what this is going to do is allow me to range the target and then provide me a firing solution for elevation, so my holdover as well as windage. It's got onboard weather. And in a previous video, I've measured this unit out to 1,700 yards. So on rocks, it was able to pick up rocks out there at roughly a mile. So if you're curious about this unit, I do have a couple of other videos around the new Maztech LRF. In my opinion, for the practical precision rifle shooter, something like this is an absolute must. Range your target and get your firing solution. Up front, for suppression, have a new suppressor here on the channel. This is gonna be the Texas Flood suppressor from Fletcher Rifle Works. So Fletcher Rifle Works reached out to me, said, hey, we have a really kind of cool, unique can. Do you have a place you could run it? And I said, heck yeah, when they told me what this is. So this is a 30 cal, right now, suppressor. As you can see, it's very compact, it's titanium, so it's extremely light. I said, yeah, let me throw that on the Huxworks mount that I got on my JAKL-10, and I could do that because this is a hub-compatible suppressor, so I was able to get the Huxworks hub adapter to fit the Huxworks muzzle device. So one of the cool things about this can is you can configure it to whatever setup you're trying to run. So the hub threads on the back end from Fletcher Rifle Works does not include a hub adapter, so you can thread in whatever you want. Maybe save a little bit of money there. Again, I went Huxworks. And then on the front end of this suppressor, it has a threaded end cap. So right now I'm actually running the 30 caliber vented end cap. They have a solid 30 caliber end cap as well as 5.56 vented and solid. So kind of the cool things about this can that I've noticed so far, I like the size of it. It fits this rifle package very well. Doesn't add a ton of length. Extremely light given the titanium design. It is nuts how light this is. So actually when I transferred this Overland Armament here in Boise, went to pick it up and they're like, dude, this can is crazy light. I don't know the spec, but I can tell you it is super light. Titanium design, and in my experience so far, it's held up well on the battle rifle. You'll see we've put a number of rounds through this JAKL-10 in this video. Can held up. I think it sounds quite nice. Right now I am running the vented end cap. I was able to put it on this JAKL-10 with no gas changes. So I gassed the JAKL-10 for unsuppressed, threaded this can on, and it seems to be running fine. So ejection pattern seems to be about the 3 o'clock. Really don't feel like there's a ton of extra gas into the system as a result of this can. So again, this is the Texas Flood from Fletcher Rifle Works. So if you want to learn more about them, again, campsite bio will get you what you want. Now this is going to bring me to another exciting new partnership here on the channel. I tell you what, guys, your support is really allowing me to take this channel to the next level. And what we're going to talk about here is support from Silencershop. So Silencershop, I've used them for a long time, and I really like Silencershop for suppressors like this and the transfers because of their online process, their single shot trust. So excited to announce partnership with Silencershop. That's what I'm going to be using for all of my NFA transfers moving forward. There's no better time than right now to get in the NFA game, and I tell you what, a partner like Silencershop really makes that a lot easier. If you're looking to get into the suppressor or the SBR world, check them out. Single shot truss, loading your profile, truly a game changer. Now the last piece of this video is going to be the ammunition that we're going to run, and I tell you what, I'm going to be running some hand loads, again from a channel partner in Sierra. So what I'm finding is these hand loads running the 169 Sierra Match King bullet, they're shooting well in pretty much all of my rifles. Now again, for a battle rifle like this, I'm not expecting sub-MOA performance. I'm expecting really 3 MOA or better, because that'll get you on a torso out to distance. 3 inches at 100 yards, that's gonna get you 18 inches at 600. You know, at 800, you're gonna be in the 24-inch range. So what I'm gonna run is hand loads. Again, these are sub-MOA in some of my other rifles, so I just slapped these together, 169 SMK, mag length, put some powder behind it to get it in the velocity ballpark. It's gonna be interesting to see how fast they run out of this 14.5-inch barrel. But couldn't be doing this video without the help of Sierra, so thank you to Sierra for their help. Now these hand loads, I ran them across my Dillon 550 progressive press, and Dillon's another channel sponsor that has really upped my game. These came off of the 550 press using stay ball match powder. And what you're gonna see at the 100-yard line will be velocity performance. What do I get for extreme spread as well as accuracy? So thank you to Dillon for their help in cranking out the ammo that we're gonna be shooting in this video. Again, information in the campsite bio. So with that, let's move down to the 100-yard line. So what you're seeing here is the cardboard that I shot at the 100-yard line. Now down below, this is kind of rough zeroing, just to check things before we actually shot on paper on camera. Now the first thing I did was fire 5 rounds of Federal Gold Medal Match 175 SMK here on the right-hand dot. Now a 5-round group, that's a decent look at accuracy, and what you're gonna see out of these 5 rounds, they landed in 1.57 MOA. So 1.5 to 1.6 MOA group, pretty decent. Actually, I was better than I expected. So that's gonna be kind of your known match ammunition. Got an average speed of 23.65, extreme spread of 14, and an SD of 4.8. So maybe something that I do in a future video would be push this out to distance and see how the Federal Gold Medal Match runs. But the bulk of what I wanted to shoot here, and what I've actually seen shoot decently well out of this rifle so far, is my 169 SMK hand load. And we fired 10 rounds here on the left-hand dot. So what you're gonna see out of those 10 rounds, man, those first, I wanna say 8 or so landed right here in this cluster, which is probably 1.5 inches. And at this point, I'm like, dang, this thing is doing beautiful tonight. And then we flew out here to the left a little bit, opened the group up, but then man, that 10th round down there dropped significantly low. You look at the 10 rounds overall, that's gonna measure 2.46 MOA. So for a battle rifle, call it 2.5 MOA. That's gonna be very functional out at distance, and you're gonna see that here in just a second. So 10 rounds, 2.5 MOA, with 8 of those going into maybe 1.5 MOA. Now what I got for velocity, remember these came off of the Dillon 550 press, so dropping them out of the powder dropper, average speed of 24.18, which is pretty solid. So that 169 SMK actually has a higher BC, G7 BC, than the 175 SMK. So we're gonna be shooting a higher BC bullet at a higher speed. Extreme spread of 30 and an SD of 8.4. So across 10 rounds, that's pretty solid velocity performance. Now with that, I actually bumped my zero up. I wanna say I came up 2/10 here to get zeroed up. Input that data into the Maztech, zeroed up the laser. Now, let's go out and shoot some steel and see how she performs at distance. Stick around, let me know what you think in the comments about this performance at the 100-yard line. Here we go on some steel out at distance. I put up 2 pieces out there. On the right is a 2/3 Zipsic, and on the left is gonna be a 12-inch stop sign from Echo Gong. I'm really excited to shoot that one because they're telling me it should ring quite loudly, so it'll be curious to see what it sounds like. But I've also updated the Maztech laser rangefinder with the ballistic data out of the 169 SMK. So all I have to do is point at the target here. I'll just point at the base. 391 yards, calls for 2.3 mils up. I tell you what, right now the wind is dead calm. So let's just hold straight up. Packed. Packed. Let's try the Echo Gong. Impact. That felt like me. Man, that is fun. Let's load up some more. Oh, 10 more loaded up. Let's just get on them out there. Yeah, that's pretty fun. Let's keep pushing out. How about a little natural terrain here off some rocks? This is going to be a realistic type position for a battle rifle or DMR. So let's point out there at our targets. We'll range it with the Maztech. 655 yards is calling for up 5.7 and right 0.2. So let's just hold that first. Now I know it's getting dark. Actually, it's probably almost so dark I can't actually hold, but we'll try it. So that splashed, but it also flashed. Okay, I gotta dial that. I can't see in the reticle that well. So 5.7 up. Here we go again. Let's go straight up. Back. Try the 2/3. Back. 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 That is pretty fun. There you have it, the JAKL, 660 yards, just hammering. Here we go with a bit more distance. We'll shoot off the tripod here in the ballpark of 800 yards. Let's go ahead and throw just a quick wind in the Maztech, maybe like a 3 mile an hour from the about say 2 o'clock. So pretty simple to update that. Now let's get down here, point at the target. 837 yards is calling for 8.6 up, so I'll go ahead and dial that on just so we can hold straight up. Okay. And now back. Try the 2/3, huh? Go left. All right. So we're right around it. Had to push the trigger forward there. Let's go back on the full size. So there we have it. 840 yards, hammering a full-size IPSC. The 2/3, we weren't able to connect. It seemed to be right around it, so let's keep going. I know we're all curious, can the 14.5-inch JAKL make contact at 1,000 yards? So I moved back, full-size IPSC up out there on the right, 2/3 on the left. I'm just gonna point my crosshair at the torso and get a range. 1027 calls for up 12.5. So I'm going to dial that to make sure we can see it. So up 12.5. So I haven't trued the data. So this is going to be kind of a best guess, but for wind, man, it feels steady. Let's just send the first one straight up. Now I do want to note, this will be a good place to show it. There's a little bit of movement in this rear stock. So if I just adjust my pressure on my firing hand, see, all I'm doing is pulling back. I can push it side to side. So it's going to be really tricky. I'm going to have to be really careful on the pressure. Let's check the Maztech. No, can't. Here we go, first round. Wow, elevation looked good. So just off the left edge. Okay, that went over it. Okay, same spot. Bit more wind. Okay. Pack. Pack. So would I call it consistent? No. Impact. So the rounds are getting out there. The elevation coming out of the Maztech actually was really close. A couple of hits there at 1,025. Let me know in the comments what you think about that accuracy. For a 14.5-inch battle rifle, we're really pushing the boundaries on it here, so let me know. Well, there you have it. The Palmetto State Armory JAKL-10, 100 yards all the way out to 1,000. Now the other night I ran out of light, so I had to start over this morning to actually film the intro and the closing piece. But from here, let's chat about my experience running the JAKL-10 out to distance. While I'm doing that, you gotta let me know in the comments down below, what did you think about the performance of the JAKL-10, especially when you think about kind of that battle rifle role. I tell you what, I'm pretty impressed. I'd love to hear from you down below. Let's chat about it. Now with that, what did I see at the 100-yard line? Well, we started out 100 yards, fired 5 rounds, a federal gold medal match, 175 SMK. And I tell you what, pretty impressed with the accuracy. Now just 5-round group, you know, that's nothing crazy, but those 5 rounds went into, I'm gonna call it a 1.6 MOA group. So roughly 1.6 inches there at the 100-yard line. That's pretty respectable accuracy for this rifle. It actually was a little bit better than I was expecting. And we saw average speed on those rounds running something like 2365 feet per second. So a little bit slow, but not terrible for the 175 SMK. So it does seem like there's some accuracy potential there. Then I fired my hand loads on a 10-round group, that 169 SMK. I tell you what, I was actually kind of blown away through the first, I want to say 8 rounds. So the first 8 rounds went into a tiny group. But you look at that 10-round group total, 2.5 inches. And the 10th round dropped low, really opening the group up. I have no excuse there. I do believe that was the result of the system. Felt like a good shot. So 10 rounds of the 169 SMK, 2.5 MOA, and I would say 8 of those rounds really went into probably 1.5 MOA. So again, pretty decent accuracy. I tell you what, that's actually kind of better than I was expecting. Some of the other videos I've seen online around the JAKL-10s were showing accuracy in the 3 to 4 MOA range. And maybe in time I'll start to see that out of this rifle, but I tell you what, we fired 2 groups, both of them under or right at 2.5 MOA. So for battle rifle, for me, that's very nice. The 169 SMKs were running something like 2420 feet per second. And as you saw in the video, they were able to make impacts out at distance. So first thing we did was move out to about 400 yards, where I felt like we really hammered the 2/3 IPSC and that 12-inch stop sign from Echo Gong. So there are some misses there Off of that four-wheeler, that might have been maybe me, you know, off the four-wheeler in my position. But ultimately, connecting was no problem. Was able to arrange it with the Maztech, hold over the information that it said, and I believe we had a first round impact actually there on the 2/3 IPSC. My misses landed high. Again, feel like that could have been me. Move out to 655 or 660 yards, and I tell you what, we absolutely hammered off of those rocks. That was actually a blast. So the full-size IPSC there, no problem. Again, battle rifle space, but torso at 600 yards. To me, that's exactly what this rifle needs to excel at, and I felt like it did. Even got a little bit of confidence there. Now, again, low wind, but even got a little bit of confidence there and put a couple of rounds on the 2/3 IPSC, 660 yards. Moved on out a bit further to about 830 yards where we shot the full-size IPSC off of the tripod, so kind of a practical shooting position, very realistic. For a rifle like this, no problem. Hammered a full-size torso at 830 yards. So at this point, I am really impressed with the JAKL-10. It's actually performing much better than I expected with that 169 SMK. From there, I got a little bit greedy, maybe overconfident, pushed out full-size torso at a little over 1,000 yards. I want to say it's like 1,030. And at that point, I felt like we were kind of beyond where the rifle was consistent or really even performing very well. So there at 1,000 yards, we fired something like 14 rounds and only got 3 impacts. And I tell you what, I didn't feel like there was a ton of consistency out there. So you saw my impacts were close to the plate. We landed a couple of them. Again, not a ton of wind out there that night. So I don't know if it was the shorter barrel, but really 1,000 yards I felt like was beyond where I was capable of being consistent with the rifle. So for results, I would say I'm extremely confident in this rifle as a battle rifle, full-size IPSC style torso with an LPVO, which is a very fitting optic for this thing. 800 yards. You saw it in the video. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear it because I was actually really impressed. This thing is super fun to shoot. It has a very unique recoil impulse. To me, it's pretty soft shooting for what it is. I don't know if it's because of the weight in the carrier there, but the recoil impulse, there's a little bit of a push. You can definitely feel the carrier push back forward, but as you saw in the video, I was able to stay on target or relatively close to target and rapidly put rounds downrange. So the shooting experience to me is fun. I love the size of the package. So this 14.5-inch barrel with the Texas Flood suppressor on it, very compact, especially when you consider the folding stock here. So you can just fold this around. Well, let's try it. There we go, fold the stock around. Look how handy this thing is. So kind of the cool thing about this is, you know, you don't have the buffer tube sticking out the back. You can make a very compact, very portable package. Yeah, the rifle's got a little bit more weight or heft to it than maybe a large frame AR, but really not unmanageable. As it's set up right here, I think it's a very handy package. It's a ton of fun to shoot. Accuracy-wise, I was impressed. This rifle actually shot better than I was expecting based on what I've seen from other creators. Now, I'm only about 300 rounds into the rifle, so it's still relatively new to me. We'll see how it performs over time, but ultimately, 1.5 to 2.5 MOA accuracy is very acceptable for a battle rifle. This is not a precision rifle where I'm trying to put rounds on small targets at far ranges. This is meant to engage targets up close, rapidly, with more energy. So yeah, maybe you miss with a round or two, but you've got a magazine of 20 coming at you, or 25, whatever you're running. So for a battle rifle, accuracy-wise, is quite acceptable. So overall, pleased with that. I feel like this LPVO, this 1-10 Yotech Voodoo from Brownells, fits the package well. And again, the Maztech LRF, I really feel like kind of is the icing on top here for being able to effectively employ this rifle out to distance, range it, get your holdover, a ton of fun to shoot. This Texas Flood suppressor, as I mentioned earlier, I feel like it filled up really, really well. It, you know, some of those strings of fire, we put 15 rounds, maybe even 20 or more there at the 400-yard line, downrange, relatively fast. Can got very hot. To me, it sounds good. Yes, I wore ears the whole time, but you can tell when a can sounds good. It had relatively low blast, low sound, but ultimately, the way it held up and the lightweight to me is a really, really nice addition to this package. So those are the things that I like about the package. Now, what are some things that come to mind as maybe opportunities or areas for improvement? Well, the first, as I mentioned, definitely is the trigger. Out of the box, that single stage to me is a little bit heavy. Not bad, it's just heavy and not super conducive to really accurate shooting. So swapping it out to the Saber Claw from PSA to me it was an upgrade. I love the fact that this is just an AR lower where you can swap in any AR trigger. I love the fact that it takes SR25 mags. So nicer trigger for me was kind of a must. One other thing I noticed about the lower, it's not ambidextrous. I'm not sure why they didn't go with an ambi lower, but if you're used to kind of old school AR controls, bolt catch on the left-hand side, that's gonna be there. Mag release on the right-hand side, that's gonna be there. So I'd love it if it were ambi, but for me as a right-handed shooter, it works. It's just kind of a little bit of a throwback because I am used to maybe bolt releases on the right-hand side of the rifle. Very handy with your trigger finger to drop the bolt. So that's one thing I wish it was full ambi. It would be nice. The other thing that comes to mind is gonna be here in the stock. So I love the folding stock. Super handy for a battle rifle, make a compact package. But what you're gonna get in any folding stock is play and movement. And that play and movement is not gonna be conducive to accuracy. And that's the case in this rifle. You saw at the 1,000-yard line when I was prone on the bag, I was able to just use pressure here on the pistol grip to really push the crosshairs around on the target. So it's something to be mindful of. The pro here, compact and handy. The con, folding stock, the play here in the tail of the rifle. And you can even see when I move it here by hand, kind of the whole adapter's moving around. It's just not conducive to accuracy. So say you have one of these JAKL-10s and you're shooting it for accuracy, be mindful of that. So once I kind of figured out what was happening here in the stock, I really had to pay attention to the pressure I was putting on my firing hand. So typically when I fire a gas gun like this, I would pull into my shoulder with my firing hand with a decent amount of force, maybe a firm handshake, a couple of pounds of force into my shoulder. I'm not doing that with the JAKL-10. So I'm getting the JAKL-10, especially on a bag under the rear. On the bipod, I'm loading into it like I normally would with a little bit of weight. And then I'm just resting my firing hand on the pistol grip enough that I can control the trigger, but not push the rear of the rifle around. As you can see that move around on the target. So that one, to me, kind of mixed feeling. Pro, in my opinion, on a battle rifle, it's a must. It's super handy. It's really nice to not have the buffer tube back here. You know, you're saving quite a bit of space here. And that is kind of one of the cool things about the JAKL-10. All the recoil system is contained here in the upper. So that's a win. But just, man, for accuracy, keep that in mind because you can really mess up some groups there with the play in that stock. But with that, overall, I actually really like this rifle. This thing's a ton of fun. As far as a battle rifle goes, yeah, it worked really well. Full-size torso out to 800 yards. We absolutely hammered it out there. Rifle ran really, really well. Rifle got hot. Can got super hot. A ton of fun. So if you're in the market for a JAKL-10, I tell you what, so far my experience has been really, really good. I really like this rifle. Again, Palmetto State Armory provided it to me for content creation, so I want to put that out there in the open. But, you know, even aside from that fact, it's just a fun rifle. For 1,500 bucks, what you're getting is a really cool, unique, I think it looks great, rifle that's going to perform out to distance. So let me know in the comments down below what else you want to see me do with this rifle. I have a ton of fun shooting it. Want to do what you want to see. So with that, let's go ahead and wrap up. If you enjoyed this video, help me grow the channel, hit that like button, comment down below, make sure you're subscribed so you're in line for my next video drop. Thanks for watching.